Hey, well, good evening. Kirk Euler back with you. I'd hope to be here this evening talking with you about Newsom's latest plans to keep our businesses closed and our schools closed, and how he doesn't just move the goalpost, he changes the game entirely. You're about to kick a field goal and he says, "Up, now it's a 3-point shot." I've never seen anything like this. Anyway, was hoping to have that conversation with you today, but as I was sitting at home doing the research for that video, I start getting these inbounds from folks, and so what's this about you guys defunding the sheriff's department? And why are you defunding the sheriff's department? And what's this about you defunding the sheriff's department? And thinking, what's going on here? And so I get on to Facebook, and sure enough, underway is a campaign accusing the Board of Supervisors of defunding the sheriff's department. So rather than spend the time talking with you about Newsom's latest scheme, unfortunately, I'm having to spend this time talking to you about our Deputy Sheriff's Association and their scheme, because this is disingenuous, it's dishonest, and it is unfortunately not reflective of the standard of behavior that we have grown to expect from our deputy sheriffs. So what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about us as a board being accused of defunding law enforcement. Let's run through some numbers to give you an understanding of just how badly we're cutting things to the bone. You ready? All right. So we're going to come over here real quick, and we're going to take a look, and this is just by way of background. We're going to take a look at general fund property tax revenue that we as a county collect on a per capita basis. So beginning back around 99, it's down about 61 bucks. And then it grows and grows and grows to here we are right at the start of the housing bubble bursting. $86, $87 per person in general tax revenue that we as a county collected, which then falls off a cliff all the way back down to $65 per person in right around 2014. From 2009 to 2014, we saw our revenue per person decrease by over 25%. Okay, close to 30% actually. So what did we do to law enforcement during this time when our revenues are dropping off? Boy, we must have hacked law enforcement, right? Well, let's take a look at the Sheriff's Department budget. This is 2009. 2009 Sheriff's Department budget. Total allocated positions 465. Total budget that year $79 million. We're going to go through this quickly because its numbers get a little tedious from time to time. So next year we grew 9.6%. Now revenues are dropping. Remember, revenues are dropping. We grew 9.6%. The next year we grew 3%. The next year we grew 2.6%. The next year, this is 2013-14. This is still right here, 2013-14. All right, revenue's still dropping. Sheriff's Department budget grew 12.6%. So all during this time, revenues are falling. We're growing. All the way down to here, the last year, the revenues are falling. We still grew 0.1%. Next year, 11.8, almost 12%. Next year, over 12%. Down here to 2017-18, we grew another 4%. 18-19, 4.7. 1920, 5.3, to this year, where we're going to hack the law enforcement and public protection, and you won't be safe in the street. 4.1% growth over last year. This is the budget we're being accused of defunding police. So where did we start? In 2009-10, a budget of $79 million, 465 employees. 11 years later, budget has almost doubled to $155 million, 567 employees. During one of the worst economic downturns that we've lived through as a county, we added 100 employees in the Sheriff's Department. Sure sounds like we're whacking public safety, huh? All right, so what does that mean in terms of keeping up with change in California? Compensation to our sheriff's deputies and matching the change in our consumer price index. So let's go back to 1999. In 1999, if you had $100, how much would you have to make today If you had $100, you'd have to have $172.9 today to keep up with CPI. All right? So your $100 in 1999, $172.9. What did the Placer County Sheriff's deputies' pay go from? There's their $100.99. $225.40 for that original $100. Not $172.9 to keep them even with the cost of living. No. $225.40. 30% beyond the growth in cost of living. Beyond the growth in cost of living. How about our placer sergeants? For their $100 in 99 today, they're at $229, essentially $230. 33% beyond the cost of living. What does that look like graphically? Glad you asked. The blue line is the Consumer Price Index. The gray line is our Placer County Public Employees Organization. That's our other bargaining unit. You can see they've held fairly steady right at just above Consumer Price Index. That's your deputy sheriffs. Looks like our board, our mean old board, is whacking law enforcement. Now, why am I emphasizing this period? Not only is it because we doubled the budget in those in those 11 years, not only because we doubled the budget and we doubled the number of positions, but because the same voting majority that began this process in 2009-10 is the same voting majority today. Supervisors Wygant, Holmes, and myself voted for all these increases in the sheriff's budget, taking us from 80 million to 155 million, taking us from 465 employees to 567 employees. Somebody want to tell me where our board has a history of looking at cutting law enforcement in the face of the greatest recession that we have faced in this county? We doubled the budget. There's no appetite for defunding law enforcement. Get real. So where does this go? Sorry, I just get irritated over this. What's really driving this? Well, what's really driving this is what's happened with salaries and benefits. Go back to 2001. Here's what we were paying in 2001 total for salaries and benefits in the sheriff's office, okay? Just right about $28 million salaries and benefits. 20 years later, $103 million. A tripling, basically, over a tripling of our cost of salaries and benefits inside of those 20 years. We almost doubled the budget in that time frame, almost doubled the budget. We tripled the cost of salaries and benefits. So, what are we looking at today? Well, first of all, there's your average annual increase in cost of salaries and benefits, 7.2%. Oh, and by the way, it's worth noting that as they're saying that they're being cut, see this number right here? 2020, 5%. That's how much their pay went up this year. This year. With everything that's going on this year, we increased their pay 5%. Sergeants, we increased their pay 5.5%. This year, with our economy shut down and people losing their jobs, this year, we increased their pay 5%. This is the board that's slashing law enforcement. So, what is it we're asking of them? Well, really, it goes at the cost that I was just going over, salaries and benefits. Unsustainable. We cannot sustain 7.2% growth in our cost to the county. Every dollar that goes into this is one less dollar that's going to your roads, going to your parks, all the other services that we have to provide. So what we are asking is for the Deputy Sheriff's Association members to pay a little bit more of their cost of their retirement. What does it look like today? For Classic members, these are the members who are hired before 2011. Our Classic employees today are paying 5%. 9% is the next lowest in the region. They're paying 5%. What are we, your evil Board of Supervisors, asking? We want them to go to 7%. That's it. Go from paying 5% to paying 7%. You'll still be below everybody else in the region, but we need you to pick up an extra 2% of your retirement cost. That is your defunding of law enforcement in Placer County. I thought you should know. Now, if I may, for a brief moment, to the members of the Deputy Sheriff's Association, I can't tell you how disappointed I am in this. As individuals, you're better than this, but you get together in that group and I don't know, you lose your heads. I met with you guys collectively and individually. And as individuals, you're rational. I don't know what happens when you guys get together in your union meetings, but this is not sustainable. We cannot continue to provide the services that our residents need with those numbers growing at the rate that they are. So, I'm going to ask you, set aside the hyperbole, stop trading on people's fears. We count on you guys and ladies. We count on you to be the calm in the middle of storms. Please don't create a storm in the middle of the relative calm that is Placer County. Come back to the table. Let's have a conversation about how we get these costs under control and we secure a positive future for you and our taxpayers. I'm confident we can make it happen.